I too, today, am concerned about tariffs, with over 9,000 FDI jobs, including Mala, and indeed another number of thousands of them in Dungarvan out the road from me. But, like Deputy Nolan, I too am concerned about the tariffs that our own government have imposed on the ordinary people. The punitive carbon tax, indeed, the nearly 48% tax on anyone wanting to build a new home for themselves. I'm talking about building a home for themselves now, not looking for houses by the state. And the punitive measures that they've taken. The fact that we bailed out, and I called it at the time and voted against it, was a clean out when we had the crash, when the EU charges 6%, almost 6%, of interest, and when their own German and French bondholders were left off scot-free. We got money that time from the IMF for 2.9%, so they're now supposed to be into our friends. We then had the Fine Gael party in particular, and indeed the Taoiseach Taoiseach at the time, meddling in a US election, describing one of the candidates, who is now President Trump, as a Dáil. And God knows, and then tweeting another morning, I saw a hat, a baseball hat with vote 1 Pamela Harris, what I got this morning in the Post. Such juvenile and pedantic and silly behaviour. And then some Bryce Black sent him over today to meet the Secretary of State. I was over there Paddy's weekend, or Paddy that time the teacher was over, and I met many Irish Americans, and they were aghast at the way we had behaved. I met Pam Bondi, and I met AFK and many other congressmen and people, and they were aghast, as for their voters in the Irish diaspora. So here we are here, and we're stifling and crippling small business with bureaucracy on a daily basis. We have, thanks to Deputy Nolan here, who found out a couple of years ago, with 36,000 NGOs who are in front of government, behind government, tripping government, costing over $6 billion a year. As soon as we get a wake-up call with tariffs and start to deal with the waste and the opulence and the naked, shameless way that these NGOs are milking our taxpayers, and also the fact that there's so much waste in government has been going on with successive governments. We banned the turf, with the farmers nearly put out of business, with different issues so supposedly from the EU. Time we looked after, and Natalie Curley-Kayla looked after our small business, looked after our small and medium-sized farmers, not allowed the ranchers. We don't have any policy on wind and turbines and also solar panels, and the best of land has been gobbled up and used. So where are we going to do? Look after our own house first, and then we work with the American people, we work with the American administration. They've been good to us always, and we have those jobs here. So I believe we can negotiate with President Trump and his teams, not be attacking him here like the parties are here. Sinn Féin wouldn't even go to America. I'm wondering why they invited it at all this year, but that's a nice way to do business. Abstention. They're used to abstention, as they say. So it's time that we got our house in order and look after ourselves and keep the juvenile, as I said, tarnished, to keep him at home, put him in the dressing room somewhere, or keep him there, so not have him going out on our behalf after what the insults he put on President Trump when he was a candidate for the election.